Hello, this is Frank DeFreitas, and welcome to another week of HoloTalk for the week of March 19th, 2000. I'm joined in the studio right now with Michelle Roy, who's sort of becoming a sidekick with the HoloTalk show here.
Thank you. The trusty sidekick, like Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin, yeah, Frank and Michelle.
Okay.
We have a number of special broadcasts that's coming up for you over the next few weeks. We visited the Center for Holographic Arts in New York City, actually Queens, right? That's where
Yes.
it was. And they had their opening there with a number of their artists in residency program students' works that were on display. And we had an opportunity to interview a number of the people who were represented in that show. So over the next few weeks, we're going to be bringing you these programs, and Michelle joined me in New York City to interview them as well. And Michelle, I have no idea what I want to ask you.
Well, that should work well.
Basically, why don't you tell the listeners, we know you've been on the HoloTalk show before, you did a special on careers. Once again, why don't you take a minute to tell the listeners what it is that we'll be doing together when we do programs together.
What do you mean?
Well,
ask me that question differently.
Say, for instance, someone comes to see us do a program.
Oh, okay.
What would it be? What would they see when they come to see us?
Yes, my interest in all of this is related to careers, and lasers and holography and photonics is in terms of how they can turn into careers for people. So, for example, when we went to Queens yesterday, you were talking to people about more of the technical aspect of what they were doing and the artistic pieces of it. Although I like to talk about the artistic parts too.
But you did a very nice job.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
thank you. But my major interest is in what makes someone want to do this. What makes someone want to go into holography? What kinds of
mental disorder?
Exactly.
Trying to identify that mental disorder.
I am trying to hook people up with some psychiatric, resources if necessary. No, just finding out what interests people about the field. What do they enjoy about the field? What kinds of opportunities are out there? Some of the people that we spoke with yesterday talked about like internship possibilities and artist in residence programs and so forth, classes that you can take that let people who are interested in pursuing it a little more deeply have an opportunity to get some different kinds of experiences. And if they want to turn it into a career, then there would be a way to do that. So that was more my take on what we were doing and why we were there, which when we do programs together, that's where I fill in as well, is looking at how people can turn what is obviously a passion. I mean, that came through loud and clear in all of the interviews that we did yesterday, that people do this because they really love it. And I'm a big believer in taking the things that you really love to do, figuring out how to make some money off of it. That's basically sort of the approach I was taking.
Do you think people basically mention their passion because they don't make a lot of money?
I'm sure that's part of it. I mean, particularly, we were talking to artists, so, people who are not using lasers in like an industrial setting or something like that, where it might be a little bit different, and you have business driving it so that there is money. I would say that those people probably, they have to be driven by something, because it certainly wasn't money. That it is, the love of the field.
The way that I use holography in a lot of the workshops that I do is not so much to allow people to move on and become holographers as it is to turn them on to what lasers can do as far as communication technologies and things of that nature, where they could go out and get a very high-paying job because there's quite a demand for people who are skilled in that field.
Well, see, the thing that I thought was interesting about yesterday was I am more, in many ways, more aware of, lasers in terms of using it in communications and that sort of thing, more of that business kind of field. And the thing that was fun about yesterday was talking to people who are artists, and who use, who really see the hologram as the thing. So that was just sort of a different, perspective.
Yeah. And holography is a great way to get people to come in and experience lasers.
Sure, right.
I mean, you could bring someone into a classroom or someone into a workshop and just teach them about lasers.
Right.
But holography is a wonderful way to combine a lot of different elements of learning and at the same time allow them to get experience with lasers.
And so much more constructive than shining laser pens.
Yes,
all over.
We have a program coming up where you can come and see Michelle and I at the Smithsonian on May 6th. And we're going to have an exhibit of holograms there, and we'll be doing presentations throughout the day.
At the Hirshhorn Museum.
At the Hirshhorn Museum of the Smithsonian, which is right on the mall. And we'll have more information on that as time goes on. But over the next few weeks, you're going to be hearing some programs that Michelle and I put together while we were in New York. And that will sort of lead us up to the programs that we will be running at the Smithsonian in Washington coming up on May 6th, and that's the program for the public. We also have another program coming up for a National Teachers Conference that will be there as well. So let's move on to the interview. Our first guest on the show in this series is one of the co-directors of the Center for Holographic Arts, Anna Maria Nicholson. And we also have a link to the Center for Holographic Arts webpage that you can click on that and visit their website as well. So let's move on to the interview. Michelle, thank you very much for coming into the studio and going on the trip.
Yep.
And those of you out there in HoloTalk land will be hearing more from Michelle, and you'll hear me shut up a little bit more and let her talk a little bit more, which many of you may be grateful for. So let's move on to the interview, and we'll see you next week. A new show each week. Don't forget to tune in. See ya.
See ya.
Hi, this is Frank DeFreitas. I'm here in Long Island City, better known as Queens, right? And we have the opening of the Holo Center's exhibit. Is this the, in fact, I have Anna Maria Nicholson with me now. How are you?
Fine, thank you. It's the Center for the Holographic Arts.
Center for the Holographic Arts, okay.
Short version for the Internet.
The website is holocenter.com, right?
Exactly.
And we'll have a link to that on the webpage so people can go visit that site while they're listening to the show.
Okay,
great. Why don't you take a moment to tell us a little bit about some of the pieces that are on exhibit here, and we'll get back and also ask you about the programs that you have here as well.
Well, we're extremely pleased. This is our very first exhibition for the artists who received the Artist in Residency program, and this is the first year. And it's amazing to us how good the work is, and what to me especially, well, all of the work, but Mary Harmon's work is a really breakthrough for holography, I think. The fact that the holograms come off the wall and become part of an installation and part of it. And they're extremely beautiful. She did them all here. And that beautiful work could not have been created without the center. That's why I feel that we're doing a very good job as far as providing this opportunity for artists to come and work.
How long has the center been here?
This is our second year, and we are funded for one more year. And after that, we hope to continue to be funded further, but we don't know yet.
Now, you do post portraits here as well, right?
Yes, we do post portraits and also jobs on commission for trade shows and things like that. That helps us with the money situation here.
So I'm assuming that anyone can come in or contact the studio here and say, I'd like to have a portrait done of myself or my family or anything like that, right?
Absolutely. I've been doing portraits, as you know, for God knows how many years. And it has been, what sustained me as far as financial situation in holography. And now the center is continuing with that, and I do the portraits, and Dan too, we're both collaborating. And you can make an appointment. It's very reasonable, $1,000 for the portrait, and that's all it takes.
What size final reflection hologram is that when it's finished?
It's 12 by 14.
It's 30 by 40 centimeter.
That is correct. Yeah.
Is this the first exhibit that you have had here for your artist in residency program?
Yes, this is the very first, and we plan to have one every year for the artist of that year, of the past year.
Now, I know you have a program here. Have you reviewed any applications for your next AIRs here?
Not yet, because when we have the deadline is July 15th. So no, we have received hardly any applications yet, although we are very open to everyone.
As far as the gallery goes, if someone happens to be in the New York City area, can they come over here to Queens and just come in and see the exhibit?
They can if they telephone ahead of time. And also, this exhibition is only going to be here for 2 weeks. Then it's going to travel down to a gallery in Fort Myers, in Florida, and from there it's going to go to the Tucson Museum of Contemporary Art. So that we're very pleased that it's doing the round.
Okay. I'm going to turn the microphone over to Michelle Roy, who's here with us today. Hi, Michelle. How are you doing?
Good, Frank. How are you?
We're doing more and more work together in holography and lasers.
That's right.
So here's the microphone, and here's Michelle Roy.
Actually, what I am interested in my background is in helping people decide on careers and what they want to do with their lives. So what interests me about all of this is, how do you decide to go into holography? What made you decide to do this?
Well, for me personally, as with so many other first wave or second wave holographers, we saw a hologram and we fell in love with it and said, this is the purpose of our life,
right,
you know.
Right.
Some to our great regret later, but you know. It's a very, very difficult medium. It's a wonderful medium, very expensive medium. At the moment, we are very fortunate to have 2 assistants who just walked off the street practically, who are now helping us and extremely interested in continuing holography as their artistic medium.
So do you consider yourself an artist or a technician or both?
No, I'm an artist, and I have had shows and in art galleries and so on.
So what made you decide to work in this medium? Is this the only medium that you work in? Okay. What attracted you to this as opposed to, being a painter or a sculptor or...
I don't know. It was a wonderful medium. It's a magical, the fact of reality being there and not being there, a space that is illusory. That's the whole thing. It's a dreamscape, basically, that we can explore and create in. I'm now extremely excited because I'm about to start a whole new series with a model that I have who's now coming from Paris, and to have a figure coming through veils, coming through smoke, coming through from one reality to another.
Now, I was speaking earlier to your intern who's here, and talking to... Yes. Can you tell me about your internship program and how that works? How someone who might be interested in getting involved in holography might be able to participate through the internship?
Well, we're extremely open to... Makiko found us on the internet. She probably told you she came from Japan to study holography. We don't, in our budget, can't pay. But what we do is we teach them holography. The equipment is there for them, and we help them and encourage them and teach them. Also, not only holography, but art. Dan and I are all hands at this. So.
Right. So what kinds of things is Makiko learning how to do? Can you give me an idea of sort of the, for lack of a better word, the curriculum, although that sounds a little too, structured maybe?
It is too structured. She's here. She helps us for whatever we need to do, because we do quite a lot of shooting. She's now totally expert as far as the darkroom is concerned. She's helping us set up in the CW table, and she's helping us with the pulse shooting. What I want to do when we have a week or two free is have her create her own hologram now. I think it's time. And then we'll walk her through the process.
So if someone were interested in obtaining an internship, they would just need to contact you? Okay.
And you interview them and do a little bit of checkup, and if they are simpatico with us, and vice versa, then we have 2 now. One is David Baraski, and this hologram here is one of his, and we are very pleased and amazed. This is his 3rd hologram in his life. Very sophisticated. He's a student at NYU. And he just, again, fell in love with holography. And I think he's thinking of holography as his medium, his major medium.
What?
I was just saying okay for what she was saying.
Oh, okay. Well, you made me lose my train of thought now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this is really good. Cut out.
Yeah, he's sorry that I'm making him now have to go in and cut this all out.
I could just leave it in. This is what the listeners like, this stuff.
Oh, all right, the banter back and forth. So, if someone were thinking about holography, what would you encourage them to do? If a kid is in, high school or in college, what are the kinds of things that they would need to do to
go on the web, go to Frank's website, where all the information is, and check out the other websites. I don't know of any other. Well, Dan gives private lessons. They could do that. They could contact us. And I don't know. I think that the School of Visual Arts has course in holography. I don't know of anything else.
So there are some programs that are out there where the kids could take courses or students could take some courses, but this may be the only place where they could completely focus on holography.
And also, don't forget that the great advantage that we have is that we have a pulse laser. And with a pulse laser, which is, I think there is one in San Francisco, there may be another one somewhere in the country, but we're very few. And with that opens up a whole new themes for the young artist, and all the ease of making a hologram, and the fact that you can use human beings, and so I think that's our very, very unique. And by the way, people, we do rent the pulse per day, and very reasonable, $750 a day, and with all our help there. So
if somebody wanted to come in and try it out and see, how to create their own hologram, that they could come in here and do that.
Exactly. And also, if they want to transfer it, we can also help them with that.
Great. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think what we'll do is get someone else in, and then we'll just continue with the show.